welcome to episode number 53 of the Songwriter's Couch. I'm your wonderful host, or not so wonderful host, Patrick Jaouen, and I've got a very special guest on the show today. But before we do that, don't forget to go and purchase some delicious merch from our store. Go down to the bottom right or left or whatever, and like and subscribe and comment, because that helps with the algorithm beasts and spreading the word. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening and all that stuff. We've been on a bit of a hiatus, but we are back. We are back. And on today's show, we've got the one and only Isaiah. How's it going, Isaiah?
It's going good. How are you doing?
All right, good, man. Good. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. So this is your first time on a podcast, is what you said, huh?
First time on a podcast.
All right. So before we get started, though, I like to do a little icebreaker segment, so to speak, where I get to know my guests a little bit. Some guests I know a lot about from the beginning, so it's less challenging, but I think you're going to be able to fool me.
We'll see.
All right?
We'll
And
see.
the name of that segment is what is it called again? Oh, two truths and a lie. And let's hit it. All right, we're back. And you got them for me?
Let's do it.
All right. What do you got?
All right.
I'm paying close attention to your body language, the perspiration on your brow, all of that stuff.
Let me just let me lock in, as the kids say these days. All right. When I was 17, I auditioned for American Idol. Got really far in that process. When my grandfather passed away, he left me with over $1 million worth of real estate.
Ooh.
And I'm also one of 12 kids.
Oh, man. Real estate dynasty. Is it cool to call it a dynasty? Real estate dynasty. American Idol, 12 kids. And one of those is a lie, right?
One of those is a
Just
lie.
so we're clear on what What do you think, Allie?
I'm going to go with 12 kids. If that's true, God bless your mom.
Now, I know you do have siblings, so that could be one you're just overestimating or overstating the amount. I don't know how many brothers and sisters you have. You know what? Because you're a singer-songwriter, I'm going to say that the American Idol thing was thrown in there just to fool me, which I am easily fooled, Isaiah. So
Okay.
I'm going to go with American Idol. Final answer. What do you, Allie? You're saying the 12 kids or 12 siblings? All right. You ready?
Yeah. I don't have $1 million in real estate.
The real estate. I thought maybe you might. And it's
I wish.
in a trust or something, waiting for you. That would be cool to inherit $1 million. So you did try out for the American Idols.
I did, yeah.
How did that go? What was that like?
I was 17, very early in like my music process, especially with just performing out. Originally, I actually auditioned in Buffalo. They turned me away. They were like, "This guy's trash."
Did you just show up, or do you have?
Yeah,
to,
so I showed up.
pre-register?
I had to wait in the line and everything. And they kind of do it like, kind of how it's shown on TV. Like everybody waits in line, you just get up there and you just play.
Yeah.
And if they like you, then you have to go fill out a bunch of information. You got to do an interview. And I originally auditioned in Buffalo. The guy didn't like me. I was like a little torn. I was 17, but I believed I was just nervous. I felt like I could have, did better than certain people that passed through.
Yeah.
So the next day they had tryouts in in Ohio. So I was with a friend and they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it again." I was like, "All right." So we drove out to Ohio, and while I was waiting in line, I actually get put in line with the same dude that turned me away the day before.
Oh no.
And like 3 people ahead of me. This one guy with long hair, he had like a headset. He's running around. It's like, "You in this line." So he put me in a different line. I was like, "Oh, thank God." And it was a younger lady, and I played for her. She was
What
like,
did you do? Did you play guitar?
I played guitar, just more convenient than trying to roll
trying
around
to-
a keyboard. And she was like, "Okay, it's pretty good. Do you have anything else?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I ended up doing 2 songs, and like before writing up, I was like trying to time it perfectly. I was like, 30 seconds. They want a couple songs, 30 seconds. So I'd practice. I was like 30 seconds. And then I stopped like right on like the 30-second mark at practice, and they're like, "Why'd you stop?" I was like, "You guys asked for 30 seconds." They're like, "No, you never stop unless we tell you to shut up." I'm like, "All right, I get it." They're like, they were playing mind games with me. They're like, "We almost, and I was like, "Almost what? Don't do that to me." They're like, oh, "Okay, no." So they handed me a golden ticket, and like,
Oh, wow.
at this time, there's like not that many people that are passing through it. There was thousands of people in line. Long waiting process too. So like when everybody would when anyone would get a golden ticket, everybody would cheer and stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I had to immediately go do another audition, which I was not prepared for.
Yeah.
And it was like filmed, and I was like, all right, like I thought the process was you get the golden ticket, you sign up, and then you go on a TV show. So many different auditions I had to do after that. I got like super far to like, I was Skype calling the executive producers, and then they're like, all right, we'll get back to you in about 3 months. And I was like, 3 months? I mean, at 17, I was like, that's like a whole lifetime.
Yeah.
And like every day I'd like wait. And they emailed me. They're like, oh, try again next year. I'm like, all right. So, yeah.
All right.
It did happen.
Well, did you ever go back and try and do the American Idol thing again?
I'm actually thinking about trying this year. Just
Maybe
sending an audition.
Maybe I'll do it with you.
You should do it.
If you do it,
Yeah.
why not? I'll take my daughter with me too.
Yeah.
She's been wanting to do that. So, is there one this year that we can?
I don't know if there's going to be one. I know they typically do one in Buffalo, Ohio. I'm thinking about maybe just taking the lazy route and sending in like a video.
Yeah.
But those ones are kind of hard because like
Yeah,
you're not
you
going to
really
see every
gotta,
one of
like,
them. Yeah.
Grab their attention immediately. Huh. All right. Well, we'll talk about it after the
Yeah.
show. Maybe we'll arrange a little trip down there and have a conversation with Mr. Is it Simon?
Simon Cowell.
Simon
Simon
Cowell.
Cowell.
Yeah.
The judge anymore.
Should I? Simon? No, not yet. Not if we're going to
don't
audition.
you dare. Don't
Yeah,
you
I shouldn't.
dare.
I shouldn't
Don't
shame
you
him.
dare.
Get that shame finger ready.
My wagger. My wagger is
I
getting
love
ready.
Simon Cowell.
So
Don't you dare shame him.
my backup wagger.
Yeah.
So 12 siblings though.
So
That is
I have
true.
11 siblings.
Or
12 total.
11.
Yeah.
How many? Where are you in that?
I'm a middle
in the
child.
lineup.
Yeah.
So middle child, just like me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where in the middle though? Like right 6 or 7?
Every time someone asks me this, it's like my brain just goes boom. But around 6 or 7.
Wow. Are they all? They were all your direct blood, or is some,
two half
like,
two half
blended?
siblings.
Okay.
2 half
All right,
siblings.
right on.
Yeah.
Wow. How was that growing up?
It was wild. Very strange childhood. Formed me to the person I am today. So like I love that. But it's very hard to find somebody that like grew up similar ways to me. So, yeah.
With that many
Yeah.
Anybody else?
brothers. What'd you say?
Anybody else? Musicians?
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask.
So
Are your parents musicians or anything?
So my
Are you into
mother's a
music?
singer, and she had done music all her life. She was actually signed at one point, and when I was a kid, in her belly, the way I hear the stories, she was dragging my older brother and me to the studios, and then when I was born, like I kind of grew up in the environment of just like bands playing and stuff, and it was really cool. But yeah, my mother's a singer. My brother plays guitar, and some of my other siblings are getting into music, but try not to push it too much because I love music.
Yeah. So that's my son. Learned to play drums when he was younger, and then moved to saxophone when he ended up taking something in school, like music in school. And then after that, he kind of like got disinterested with it. Yeah. And then just this year, he started learning guitar now on his own. Like he was like, "Oh, can I borrow a guitar?" I was like, "Why do you want to borrow a guitar?" Because he wanted to like learn. Yeah. My daughter, however, is the opposite. So she was. She took like dance and all that kind of stuff, but she's super into music.
Really?
So, but my family's like my dad's a musician, my older brother's a musician, my grandmother played the mandolin.
So you come from a long line of musicians.
Kind of like runs in the family, So why don't we do this too, because we haven't actually had you introduce yourself to the people at home and where they can find your stuff, right? So why don't you speak into the camera over there and let them know. One, what your name is, and then if you have anything out there they can like download or somewhere they can go and website or whatever, social media, all that shit.
Do it. So my name is Isaiah. I love music. I've always been making music since I was a kid. The easiest way to find me is on Instagram. I go by Isaiah.music. And my link in my bio, it's to my Spotify, and then you can find all my songs in there.
Right on. And I'm going to covertly pour myself a little bit more of this here cognac. So let's see if we can do that. So how did you end up getting into like making.
Me, hop in there too.
Need a little refi. How did you originally get into like making music? Because there's a lot of people that are into listening to music, going to concerts. I almost spilled that entire thing all over us. Going to concerts, and all that. But choosing to be a musician and make music, and especially a songwriter, I think that's a very specific thing. Because you have even musicians that learn to play guitar or bass or drums or something like that, or keys, and then they just join a band, and they never actually write any music or anything like that.
Right.
So how did your progression from, all right, I'm a kid, some of my family is into music, and you grew up with some music around you, to I'm going to do this kind of as a thing I do, like a main thing I do?
So as long as I can remember, I mean, just because of my mother being a musician, there was always a piano in the house, and I can't really remember when I started playing it, but ever since I was a kid, I always kind of just messed around on it, and my parents saw that I had like an interest in piano, and so they got me a private teacher, but it was really hard for me to kind of like learn like how to read sheet music, because I wanted to hear things that sounded good.
I never did that either.
Yeah, and it's strange like how it's kind of set up, like especially if a kid has an interest in music. It's like, hey, here's a bunch of books. And it's like that's to me, I don't think that's the best approach. Maybe for some kids, but for me, it was like,
well, that's what I was saying about my son too. I kind of feel like they schooled the music out of him, and then just like I said recently, I don't know if it was a girl or something he was like trying to learn for, but that's interesting. I never learned to read music either, which I'm I wish they had made it interesting enough for me to actually do that. But sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. So it was hard for me to kind of like, I don't know, absorb the information that the teachers were handing me, because I just really wanted to play something that sounded good.
Yeah.
And my main thing as a kid is like, why does this sound good as opposed to this? What makes a song like sound interesting to me? And so they kind of schooled it out of me, like you said.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want any lessons. I don't want anybody teaching me. Like, I just want to play, and I want to get as good as I can, And so I ended up starting to just rely on my ear. So like what sounded good, I would stick with that. What didn't, I'd just toss it out. And eventually, like, I built up a pretty good base where I was like, just based on my ear, like I knew how to play just the piano, but like it was no foundation to it at all.
Yeah.
It was just very free formed, and it was like just improv.
It was jazz, you could say.
Kind of, it was just anything that sounded good. I was like, okay, that sounds good. This sounds bad. And then around 14, 15, I picked it back up, and I was like, I want to know why what I do sounds good. And sometimes
so you jumped back in.
Jumped back in, and somewhere along this process, when I was younger, I went to Hochstein for a little bit, and they were teaching me how to read, and a lot of times I didn't know how to read, but I had the ear, so they'd always play a little piece before me, and I'd just play what I heard.
Yeah.
And I flew under the radar for like a whole year, and then they switched teachers on me, and she was the new teacher that came in. She was like,
she would just hand you the sheet.
No BS, Hispanic lady. She was like, if you mess up, she had a ruler all the time. She'd tap the hand. I don't know if I should say that, but she would always tap my hand.
And we're old enough now.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations. Right?
Yeah, it's well over 7 years. And eventually one time she caught on. She was like, no, you play the piece first. And then I was like, I can't read. And she told my parents.
Wait. Was it like one of those movies where
it felt like it,
where someone is illiterate, and they get away, and then finally a teacher's like,
oh yeah,
like read that sentence.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean? I was shook, and I was young, and at that age I was very like pretty shy.
Yeah.
And so she was like, yeah, play it. And I was like, it was a whole thing, and then eventually I did learn a little bit how to read, like the next, few months I was there, but then it got schooled out of me too. I lost the interest. And I didn't know really what caused me to like have a pull towards music. I just knew I wanted to make something that sounded good, and I wanted to know why.
Were you playing other people's songs at that point? Or
yeah, so I was playing like classical pieces, every now and then they would throw in a jazz piece, because I didn't want to get locked down to just one genre. And then after I left Hochstein, it was probably another 3 years where I dropped it. You know, I just played on my own. And then I got a really good teacher who was an Eastman graduate. Him and his wife, they taught piano lessons. And he worked with me. Like, I was trying to find a teacher. And at this point, like, I was really, really into piano. And I was playing, like, pieces that were pretty hard to play. So certain teachers, like, they would kind of pass on, like, teaching me. Because they're like, oh, like, you should probably find a different teacher. So I found a really good teacher. Actually, my dad found him. And when I got there, I was like, listen, like, I just want to know why this sounds good. And he was, like, the first teacher, like, out of all the teachers I've had, that was like, what do you want to do with music? And I was like, I just want to know why this sounds good. He's like, okay, we'll work there. And so, like, we didn't even touch sheet music for, like, maybe the first 6 months. And it was just like, learn these keys, all right? Key of C, D, E. And I just go up and down the scale. And then eventually it was like, now you got to learn the chords and the keys. And so I'm like, oh, it's that simple, you know? And then he's like, now, like, once you know what notes are in the key and what notes aren't, you just mess around with it. So for, like, the next 6 months, it was just me doing improv based on the foundation that we had built the 6 months prior. And I was able to kind of just come up and be able to create songs.
So you started writing around then.
Yeah.
Just based on the were you how did that, like, if you can recall maybe some of your first things you've written or you wrote back then, like, were they written, I'm guessing, on a piano you were writing?
So actually, no. I just because of my older brothers, like, I grew up just around, like, hip hop and stuff. So we'd always freestyle. And, like, my earliest songs were always just, like, freestyles. We'd make cyphers together.
Yeah.
But, like, producing, like, on Logic, I would say, like, the first time I got into it, I was, like, 14, 15. Originally, it was my older brother's setup. And so I just started messing around there, and then it sort of became my setup.
Just, like, loops and
yeah, but
stuff like that.
It's a lot more simpler than trying to compose the entire thing from, like, scratch.
Yeah.
But it was enough where I can run a loop, and I could put, like voices on it. But I wanted to know how to create those tracks behind it, which is why I had to go back into the lessons, because I was like, all right, if I can just play this out in the keys, then I can create the songs I want. And just from my prior, like, experience freestyling with my brothers, like, I kind of already knew how to, like, come up with, like, sounds and words and bring them to life. And I would say, like, around 14, 15, that's when I started making my early songs.
It's interesting, too, because I grew up in Queens in the 80s, so hip-hop was really, starting out, and then got gigantic there in Queens, kind of started. I guess it started in a lot of places, but Queens was one of the main places where hip-hop started. So that influenced, even today, like, the way I write now is influenced by, like, the Fat Boys, one of my favorite groups back in the day.
Okay.
Like who was it? Run DMC, which I got to meet Damien at the Grammys once, which that was really cool. Hip hop really influenced me, and I was writing poetry / lyrics too first.
Yeah.
My older brother was a musician. My dad was a musician. Learned how to play guitar. I picked up the bass first and learned how to play bass first, because I was like, well, my older brother's a great lead guitar player. I'm not going to do that or get to his level. Like, he's always going to be ahead of me, so why don't I play something else? I took on the bass. Maybe it was based on the fact that, I was super into hip-hop, too, so let me be that funky
Get that rhythm
thing
in
in the background. But then I had to start learning that stuff in order to do what I wanted to do, because I wanted to songwrite, really. So what was your... Do you... I'm sure those early things were kind of like, like, if you listen to them now, right?
So actually, on the way here, I was listening to some of my earlier stuff, and
or maybe they were fantastic and you were a prodigy of it.
At the time, I believe they were, like, the best things ever, because, I mean, coming from a spot where, like, I didn't know why this sounded good, but I really wanted to create something that was just, original, and like, getting the sound out of my head into the, computer. Like, how close can I match that sound? In, like, early years, like, what I heard up here in my head, and what was coming out of the speakers just did not
Yeah,
match.
it's not the same.
And you know, the longer you play, the closer you get to that, and
Yep.
that connection between your head and what you get out in the speakers, that gap starts to close the better you get. But early on,
That sounded
there's-
like a record scratch right there, didn't it?
yeah, it sounded nice.
I
the
have to sample that now.
earlier songs, they didn't really match what was coming out of my head. At the time, I believe they're great, but listening back now, I'm like, wow, like
So when you were writing then, I'm supposing you were probably pulling from either experience or maybe you were trying to write like someone else. Like where do you tend to find your inspiration for songs? Like is it real life, or is it you write, or do you write to kind of tell a story of something? Because some people write fiction songs, so to
Yeah.
speak, right? Where you're telling a story about something that didn't really happen to you, but you're good at conveying that. And some people have to only write about kind of things that are personal to them, or what have you. Like, what do you feel you?
So it definitely shifts. There's sometimes like I'll get in the studio and I'll just make songs. Like if it's a night out, I come back. I'm like, I just want to make something stupid.
Yeah.
And then there's some days where it's like I want to make something serious. Early on, when I started making music, it was very like I felt like I had to just convey a message that was very real, and put it into a song. And what would happen is I'd get really insecure once I like pressed the upload button. I'm like, because at a certain point, you got to realize if you take, at least this is my opinion on it, if you take the music too serious, it's really hard for people to like it.
Yeah.
And if you take it as a joke, nobody's going to take it serious. And so like trying to find that blend between, taking it serious and not, it's kind of like theater, I guess.
Yeah.
And for me, I try to pull from certain experience, definitely the emotion and the vocal takes. Like I try to, pull from certain, like if I'm talking about a relationship song, I try to pull from emotions from that and try to get it across in the vocals. Whether it's lyrics or not, I try not to tap too much into like personal stuff, but I try to keep it real enough where it's like, it's something that's from me.
It's interesting because you said, what did you say? You're pulling from multiple places. I lost the thought now. I didn't want to interrupt you. And I was like, I wanted to say something about what you were. Repeat everything you just said.
I could not. I could not. I'll yap, man. I'll yap.
No, but like the so that's what it was. It's the you don't want to be too serious, and you don't want to be also take yourself as a joke. And I think what happens over time as an entertainer, performer, artist, or whatever, and you see this with artists that. So you have to look at artists that continue to make music until they're old, into their old age. Let's take, for instance, like Steven Tyler, right? So those first records that he made, right, with Aerosmith, he said he hated the sound of his own voice. And so he was trying on some of the songs, you hear him like faking a different, trying to be like the old blues guys.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't that. He had his own thing, which was interesting in and of itself. And he finally like fell into it. But as he gets older and older, it's more of like being that we're drinking cognac here, a distilled version of him. And it's almost like his stage persona and his offstage persona as he gets older are
Merging.
like merging and converging into his real self. Because I almost think that sometimes as artists, it's hard for us to like when we're on stage, that's really who we are.
Yeah.
And when we're off stage, it's like you can't be your on stage persona necessarily all the time in real life unless you're famous.
You get very obnoxious.
Because if you're really famous, then you can be a Steven Tyler and wear the scarves and do all that kind of stuff. And people are like, oh, it's Steven, he's a rock star, or whatever.
Yeah.
At this point in our careers, right, we can't be like maniacs outside of the stage. It's entertaining when it's on stage. When you're off stage, you're like, who the hell are you? This crazy guy's probably on drugs, be acting like this or whatever. But I find that interesting because I feel the same way. Like the older I get, the more I find my songs and my songwriting, my stage persona, if you want to call it that, getting closer and closer together. And I'm older than you, so I've had a few more years to to get distilled into that. But that's an interesting point you bring up too about the way that happens. So now though, when you write, are you sitting down like I'm going to write a song, or is it?
So it's it's rough with my schedule, just work schedule. But when I do, I try to get in there like every night. But sometimes I'm a little too exhausted, and I'll just like stumble down in my basement. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to make like a little loop or something just to keep the skills sharp. But Saturdays and Sundays, I have time to kind of dive a little deeper, and my creative process it's pretty locked down. When I'll get in there, it's really I'll look for a certain sound. Maybe it's a loop, maybe it's a chord progression, and once I'm like, all right, that's it. Like I'll know pretty quick, and then I'll just upload that, and then I'll just start working, and it's just very free form, and what sticks, and what doesn't.
What's really interesting too is because I know a lot of musicians that don't ever exercise, go to the gym, anything like that. Every once in a while, like you and I, we go to the same gym, which is how we kind of started talking and stuff. And from Loving Cup to the open mic, I know we interacted there a little bit too. But there's almost a different approach that people that have fitness as part of their lives
I agree.
take to music too. It's almost like this regimented, like, oh yeah, I've got a, how do I put it? Like, I'm going to go in for an hour every day
and get those
and
reps
songwrite and do it over. And I'm the same way. Like, I'm going to write a bunch of songs. Some of them are going to be shit. Some of them are going to be great. But I'm just going to do a million of them. And eventually something is going to come out of there. Do you find like that stuff leaks into your...
Yeah, I agree. I think, especially with like fitness, you start to realize...
I mean, granted, you look like you work out. I look like I drink cognac, but...
Oh, we're both drinking. So honestly, like, I think, I don't know, I heard this, I think it was either Ed Sheeran that was saying this. It's like, songwriting is like a dirty spigot, right? You turn it on, a lot of muddy water comes out, but eventually, like, clean water will start to flow. Every now and then, you'll get something that's just not great. But over time, the more you let it run, the clearer the water comes. And, with fitness, you see, like, when people start out, it's, like, very awkward. Eventually, you start to see yourself progressing, and it's like, okay, now I can see that I'm progressing, like, and just the fact of just aiming up is what causes a lot of people to stick. That's what kept me with fitness. One, it's, like, the perfect medicine for my head. Two, it's, like, I can progress, and I can track it, and I can see it. Music, it's the same thing. It's pretty instant when you make a song, and it's great.
Yeah.
And, like, when you make a song and it's bad, you go, okay, I know. And if you take a long break off of music and you try to hop right back in at the same level,
it's funny how quickly you lose that.
It goes. Same with fitness.
Same thing. Yeah, it's funny too because I know. So we got the when people first join a gym, they go in there like either with jeans and flip flops, and they look like they've never stepped foot in the gym before. And then eventually they start buying the gym clothes. They start looking like someone that goes to the gym. And I think that's kind of a great message for anyone watching that's a new songwriter, a new performer. You may feel really awkward at first, and you may feel like this, when you first walk into a gym, like, oh, everyone's fit and working out, and then eventually you kind of come into your, yourself. The more you realize that your true self is what people actually want to see.
Yeah.
I've always said that, like, when people are on stage, again, that it's not a persona necessarily. It's real. That's who they really are. And off stage, they're hiding that.
Yeah.
And especially musicians and performers that are compelled to do it. Like, you have to do it. I think that's that never leaves you. Even my father wants to retire from music. He can't. He's in his 70s. He still wants to come out and play with my band. And stuff.
So, like, for me, like, I get that same feeling, and I totally understand that. It's a little different. Like, when I'm in the studio is where I feel like I can be, like, my real self when I'm creating. Because, since a kid, that's always what I've chased. Like, how can I make the best song I can make? and whether I gotta take a couple months off and like grow my skills in a different area to be able to achieve a certain sound. But I'm in the studio and I'm making something that's...
What's your favorite track now, if you want to cut to this camera here? What's your favorite thing out now that you have released that you want people to go listen to? And then tell them your stuff again. Just beat them over the head with it.
Yeah, so my name's Isaiah. You can find me on Instagram, isaiah.music. Honestly, I have a very bad problem like releasing new stuff. I got a ton of songs out, but like I make so much songs, and the amount that gets released is like maybe 5%. Bless you. And so one track that kind of caught me by surprise is a song that it took me like 30 minutes to write one night. I came home and I was like, all right, let me just write a song. And everything it was so smooth. And it took like 30 minutes, and I was like, nobody's going to listen to this, but I'm going to upload it, because it happened so quick. The song was done. I was like, whoa, I finished the song.
Yeah, there's no way that could be good.
I was like, I finished the song, because artists have a lot of issues finishing songs. So I was like, all right, let me just upload it.
So what's the name of that?
It's called It All Leads to Something. And this year, it's one of my top played tracks. I don't really promote my music too much.
Oh, we'll put a link to it. Is it Spotify, all that stuff?
It's on Spotify.
All right, don't support Spotify. We didn't get to the shame.
Spotify.
Yeah, we didn't get to the shame on you. Did we do Spotify already? But if we already have shamed on Spotify,
it's on Apple Music too.
Spotify again. Stop listening to music on Spotify, please, everybody. Go to like Apple Music, go to YouTube, go anywhere else other than like Spotify and those music services that just rip off songwriters. I know it's you've got to release it on there, and people love it because of the algorithms and all that stuff. But for God's sakes, like artists have to get paid for their stuff. So
let me restart. It All Leads to Something is on Apple Music.
There we go. On Apple Music. 100%. And we'll link to the Apple Music one too in there, so you get some. And don't just stream it. Don't just throw it in your playlist. Download it. That little downward arrow thing. If you click that, an artist gets paid probably quadruple, if not more, than what they would if you just listen to it. So we're coming to an end here, Isaiah, but I am going to have you on again at some point.
Okay.
I'm going to be releasing a record, and I do want to do something with you as well. I have some ideas, and we'll listen to some of your music after this. Yeah. A private messaging private listening session, which, speaking of, if you have any interest in seeing some of the after stuff from a podcast, let us know, because we could do a little Patreon thing or something like that, and add some after show stuff or behind the scenes stuff too. So, Isaiah,
it's a pleasure.
Thank you for being on the show. I will see you probably at the gym tomorrow.
Yeah, probably.
But we'll hang a little bit here today too.
Okay.
But don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down, and wherever. I always forget which way it is. I should probably remember that, either left or right or whatever.
Don't. Then you just click.
Yeah.
Just point somewhere and edit it.
Buy merch, patrickjaouen.com, JAOUEN.com, and what did you say?
Link in bio.
Link in the bio. Yeah, it's been a while, so I need line.
Say goodnight.
Line. Oh, say goodbye. Say goodbye, Isaiah.
Say goodbye. I don't know.